TMV Steven Beaver is the efficiency mentor, paid public speaker, and author. His tagline, TMV, Take More Vacations, is his core life value, work to live. Having been a workaholic and missing out on many of his own kids' milestones, his goal is to never let that happen to anyone, ever. TMV Steven Beaver solves the problem of taking more vacations by putting you out of work. He solves the problem of having to spend your money to wanting to spend your money faster. Relax. This is the TMV Club TV show.
My name is Jeff Crilly. Welcome to the TMV Club, and I am honored to have in studio Steven Beaver. Thanks for coming on the show.
Right on. Thanks for having me.
Well, first of all, I got to compliment you on your outfit because how many of those do you have in your closet?
It's 7 shirts, 7 shorts, 14 socks, 2 shoes, and 1.
And are they mix and match? Or are they all?
No, it's my brand. It's
no
nobody
kidding.
sees anything. I was at a networking group, and the president said something, and I popped back off at her, and she goes, "Yeah, Steven, you and your yellow shirt can come too." And I was like, I'm wearing my orange shirt. I call my strategist. She says, "You branded yourself 30 years ago. You just got to go buy more of those." And then finally, we found. I will say, you guys don't get to see it, but the socks. What happens in Vegas doesn't always stay in Vegas. That's all I'm going to say, okay? That's all I'm going to say about the socks.
Well, I think you're absolutely brilliant because it can't be an elevator ride that is quiet with you, right? People are like, okay, what's your deal, right?
Yeah,
And it allows you a chance to tell your story. So speaking of telling your story, would you share?
Sure. Your mess is your message. I learned that from, not from one of my mentors, but from his wife, actually. Craig Doswald. I won't mention his name because I don't want to give him any street cred. But anyway, so I had, at one point in time, I had a full-time martial arts school. We actually had the largest martial arts school in Oklahoma, had 5,000 square feet and a bunch of different instructors. I was doing business consulting back then. It's now, my strategist says it's efficiency coaching. But and then I had my insurance license. So I was making the money for the family, right? And I got to see my kids in the morning when they went to school. That's not family time. And I got to see them on Saturday afternoons. Well, if we weren't at a tournament, well, I'm a 2-time national champion, so we were a tournament school, so that didn't happen very often. So I saw my kids on Saturday or Sunday afternoons, and that was pretty much it. And I always wondered why my wife had a better relationship. Now, Jeff, you and I know Mama always has a better relationship.
Of course.
Okay, but you know what I mean, right? It could have been better. We took 4 vacations in over 18 years, and my worst story is I saw my oldest son's first t-ball practice. That was it. I don't know if he had a winning season. I don't know what position he played. I don't know if he hit the ball or threw anybody out. I don't know. I missed those events because I was doing it for the family. And so I always ask the question, if you were an alcoholic, would you like to talk to the teetotaler that's never had a drink before, or would you rather have to talk to the person that's a reformed alcoholic who's been through it, right? It's always the same. They want reformed alcohol, or reformed, not an alcoholic, I don't drink, but reformed workaholic. And so one of my mentors, I was very fortunate that I had a mentor he was #1 rep for Pfizer, and he got me into Earl Nightingale Conant, got me into self-development. So it was the beginning of the TMV.
So all of us tell ourselves a story. When you were deep into your, workaholicism, if that's a word, what were you telling yourself?
I'm doing it for the family. I mean, that's what I hear everybody saying. It's what I said. I was doing it. Look, I got to provide for the family. I need to do this. We need to do that. And you get so involved. Unfortunately, the brain likes habits and systems, and it's very lazy. Its job is to survive, and you do that by being very economical with your movement. You walk the most economical way, and so when you get into a system, good or bad, the brain wants to stay in that system. So you start working and you start saying no, and that's the thing. When you start saying no, I got to take this phone call. Hang on a second. You do that to your family, right? That should be a wake-up call. It wasn't for me, right? Because I was in the zone. I was working, and I was doing what I loved, teaching martial arts, helping businesses grow, and so, but what did I really love, right? I was missing that part, and we get fixated on it, and that's just a terrible thing.
And so you teach people how to take more vacations.
Yeah, every one of my clients takes a minimum of 6 vacations a year, starting very beginning. Every 2 months, we've got it planned out. And people say that always it's the same thing. I can't afford it, or I don't have the time. And those are excuses, not reasons.
Sure.
Right?
And many people take vacations, but they're not really on vacation. They're checking their laptop and their cell phone all the time.
I used to bring my Bibles from good to great and 4 days with Dr. Deming everywhere I went. And then my work and this. And then when I had a free moment, I went out of vacation mode into work mode. And then you're not really there.
Yes.
Right? And that was, 4 times, but I mean, still.
And then sometimes you come back from vacation absolutely exhausted. And what's the point, right?
Well, I will say this. Always plan a day or 2 afterwards to be on vacation from your vacations. Because even if it's a great vacation, you're wiped out, right? You're ready. But that's the thing. I always ask this question. What is the hardest thing for an Olympic coach to do with their athlete? It's not to get them to work out. It's to get them to rest. You see, it's not the person that works out the hardest that wins the race.
Sure.
It's the one that has the most in the gas tank, right? And so it's the same. So you go on vacations to recharge your gas tank, right? And
Yes.
and if you work while you're on there, then what that mentally says is, well, I can goof off at work. And Jim Rohn is very famous for saying, when you're at work, you work. When you're at the beach, you're at the beach. And the two don't mix.
Yes.
Because now you're hungry to go to work, right? That's what the vacation makes you do.
Well, something that occurs to me as we're speaking right now, Tom Brady's marriage is in trouble. Tom Brady, who's won 7 Super Bowl rings, he's the greatest of all time. His marriage is on the rocks. His wife has moved out, and this guy, he needs another ring, and maybe a concussion. So, I mean, if Tom Brady was watching this, what would you tell him?
I would say use the same energy. He had a story when one of the new players came in. He says, well, I'll see you tomorrow morning when we work out. And the guy came in at 8 o'clock. And Tom said, good afternoon. And the guy's like, what the hell? So he came in, the next morning, the guy came in at 7 o'clock. He says, good afternoon. The next morning he came in at 6 o'clock. And Tom Brady goes, good morning. I would say take all that energy and put that into your relationship with your wife and your kids. I mean, dude, the guy does not want for money, okay? But see, he got caught up in that, right? And the fame and everything. And when you become that person, you become your brain says you can do anything. And unfortunately, if you're spending your time away from your family, then that becomes less of a value, right? He didn't do it on purpose. That's just the natural way the brain works, right? That's less value because you're not spending enough time, right? And so, I mean, and there's plenty of people that, we can
Sure.
say that do that, but
And
take that energy and put it in there.
They always say that on your deathbed, you never say, I wish I had worked more. The regrets are always related to, I wish I had spent more time with the family. I wish I had, right?
Yeah. That's always, do you want more memories of making money or more memories of having fun with your family and your friends? I mean, that's...
Okay, so tell me what an ideal client looks like for you.
An ideal client is the person that says, I'm too busy to talk with you because they're missing the boat. I'm known for my avatar training. I get skinny avatars and fat wallets, right? That's my flagship. So an ideal client is someone that is realized that they're a workaholic and maybe their marriage is on the rocks. I'm a counselor. I can't help on that, but I can give you the systems to fix it, right? So my main avatar is for insurance agents. Now I've helped plumbers, electricians, attorneys, teachers, physical ed. I've helped everybody, but my avatar is really very narrow, very slim, okay? But the systems that I do work for just about everybody. I haven't met a business yet where it has helped. And it's like, are you going to drive a Volkswagen? Are you going to drive a CRV? Are you going to drive a Honda, whatever, or Lamborghini? It's the same vehicle, right? And so that my perfect client is the person that is ready for change. So here's a word that everybody says that I hate now. I want you to get in the right mindset. Mindset. Such a buzzword now, nobody thinks about it. So I say, I want you to get the right mindset. I want your mind to be set in this. So the brain, what it does is it's like a river, right? So it can be like a little stream, but let me just ask you a quick question and just answer it as fast as you can. What's your name?
Jeff.
Did you think about it?
No.
No. Because you have this thing called myelin, right? And it's this fat whitey substance that connects it. But when you're first born and your parents are like, Jeff, and you're like, eh. But now, because that myelin's there, it's lightning fast.
Right.
And so when you've worked, that alcoholic is, or the workaholic is got that myelin set in there, right? So when you start thinking, okay, I'm going to change that to the family, it's got to compete with that. But at that myelin gets smaller, your family values and your work and everything in your systems. So people that say, I can't, or, I'm just not getting it, they don't realize the mind is actually working overtime. It's actually putting out more. You took almost zero energy for you to say Jeff. But if I say, I want your name to change to Joe Bob B. Bob,
right,
and then I ask your name, you'd be like, right? But you could do it. But that Jeff will always be there. There'll be a little creek there, but it's like but we're going to try and make it the Grand Canyon, right?
Yes. Okay. I know you've helped countless people over the years. Tell me your favorite story of a client you've helped, and you don't have to name names if you don't want to. But what was this person doing, and how did you help them?
The crazy electrician. I'll just say that. I actually came up with this tagline on that. But my favorite thing about it is he's got 2 kids now. He came from New York. He was eating, this is what he always says about me. He says, Steven, before I met you, I was eating hamburgers. Now I'm eating steaks. And then when he had his first kid, we were like, oh, and then he's like, I get it now, right? Children are, when you have children, you understand, right? You understand the value. My kids are all grown. I can never ask my kids to be, 2, 4, and 7 again, right? I can't do that, right? So he really started doubling down on the system, and then we would go on. The other one would probably be an insurance agent. His avatar starts with baseball because he's basically like a baseball commissioner, right? People don't think about that, like what? But so anyway, we just actually spent. I shouldn't say this because people will expect that, but we spent 3 hours redoing his avatar after 1.5 years. And we made it even skinnier. But see, your avatar can change, right? It's still the same avatar, but it's a skinnier avatar. And
Sure.
he's going from 1,000 clients a year to only 100 clients a year. That's all he needs to make what he wants to make.
Tell us about your coaching style, because I know a lot of people who probably need a coach say, well, he's going to beat up on me. He's going to tell me why I'm an idiot. So people will talk themselves out of a coach.
Yeah,
so what's your style?
I would never go down that road, but I am known for saying the things that you need to hear, not that you want to hear. Mm-hmm. So my kids call it running the traps. So if you give me a thing, then I'm going to ask the questions that will hopefully lead you down the road for you to make the right decision for you, right? The TM version is not. I used to wear suits. Okay, for many, many years. Some people like the suits, some people like the TMV. I'm not for everybody, but my style is serious, but there's humor in there. Like we got to have some fun, right? I mean, you learn the best when you're having fun, right? Sure. So my delivery is serious, but as you can tell, I have a lot of stories, and it's usually stories sell and facts tell, right? So I don't really care about the facts so much. I don't talk about my educational background; that's irrelevant. But the stories get people. So I find out where their interests are, and I talk to them on their interests, right? So if you're a gardener, I'll talk about, you need to pull these weeds, right? If you're a mechanic, I said, the oil change is due. I mean, when's the last time you did an oil change, right? So I try to talk their language, but that's.
What size company do you prefer to work with?
15 and under.
Okay.
And the head honcho, the president of the company, is the first person that has to be all in. It all starts from the top. It's not like, hey, change my team. No, at all. I mean, every CEO out there, Fortune 500 company CEO, it all starts from the top, right? You got to walk the walk. I always say I eat my own cooking. They're never going to do anything that I haven't done before, right? And so they should do this. It's the same thing. They shouldn't be asking their people to, besides the system can be used for your personal, your professional, and your financial life, right? All three. So
when somebody starts working with you, one, they have to be in the right mindset to surrender and say, okay, I'm hiring a coach. I got to listen to the coach.
Yeah.
Do you ever get a client that kind of fights you?
Actually, the insurance agent fought me on the on the clients going from 1,000 to 100. He's like, I can't make a living doing that. And I'm like, tell me. And so then I run the traps. I asked the question. I said, well, tell me about the best deals that you ever had. And they happen to be doctors. And so I was like, how much you make? About $1,000 on each one of them. And how many clients do you need to make 100 grand this year? Because that's your goal. Oh, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a believer because, for many years, if Jeff Crilly gets hit by a bus, this company folds. But
you are the franchise player.
Yes. And my daughter is my vice president. We have a head of operations. We have an amazing team, including Sarah, our producer today. And I can honestly say that if I get hit by a bus, there's a kumbaya moment, and they say, let's do this in Jeff's honor. So I'm a big fan of what you're talking about because I used to wear all of the hats. I'm the head sales guy. I'm changing the ink cartridges.
Yeah. No,
As Sarah will attest, I don't know how to turn on a camera in this place. So I'm a big fan of what you're doing. When somebody's watching this, how do they know when they need you? Is it obvious to them? I mean, is the person?
No, because everybody's in their own world. So here's a good thing. Do you consider yourself a solopreneur? I have yet to meet a successful solopreneur. Look, I have a big team. I mean, Fiverr out there. I got personal assistants. You don't do that. Oprah Winfrey, which you probably know.
Sure,
okay.
Sure.
Does she do the mic check? Does she do the lighting check? Does she move the furniture? No, she spends 20 minutes. She studies her, and she does 20. That's what she does.
Yes.
Right. And so if you're thinking, the reason I say I'm not successful because they're working probably 60 to 80 to 100 hours. They're not seeing their family. See, success. What do you qualify as success? I say success is spending more quality and quantity time with your family, not just quality. Everybody talks about quality. No, it's the quantity. Do you want to live to work or work to live? Right? And so that's when you look at it and you go, and when somebody's listening to this and they say, yeah, I'd like to know how to TMV. Right? The TMV club, what the heck is that? That's the club where you join, where you can talk with me or other people. And, I've got a web page that's being built. It'll be up by the time we do this. But I got 30 years of free stuff that's going to be being dumped in there. I mean, you can pay me or you can get it for, I think it's $49 for a year. Right?
The example I use a lot when I'm telling people about, how to orchestrate your business so that you're working on it and not in it is Mark Cuban. I say if Mark Cuban is not happy, shame on him, because he wakes up with endless choices. He's got 4 billion reasons why he doesn't have to work. He could work on the Mavs. He could work on Shark Tank. He could go to Europe on his private plane. I mean, endless choices.
Yep.
And I would imagine that he sleeps like a baby. I would hope that he would. I mean, is that the kind of role model that your clients?
I use Richard Branson. He's got 400 companies. Do you think he looks at every company every day? No. Richard, all he does, I like to call him Richard. You know what? Like we're on first name basis.
Rich.
Like if you're watching this, Richard, call me, okay? But his only job is to find deals. And he probably has people that send him those, say, hey, what do you think about this? And he says, yay, nay. When he says yay, nay, his job is over. He hands it back to his team.
Yes.
Right? That's it. His job is to find ways to spend his money, right? To invest it, right? So, but no, that's exactly, both of them are exactly.
Personal question. So your kids were how old when you finally decided to take a vacation? How old were your kids?
The first vacation?
Or just adopt a new lifestyle?
It was about 3 years ago when I really became full blossom, and what we did was we just put it out there and we said, hey, we're going on vacation and you're invited. Now I knew we only took 4 when we were kids, but did you pay for anything when you were a kid? They were like, no. And I said, okay, it's the same thing here. And so they were like, and so 2 of them took us up on it, and so we were at a mall, and I'm going to do this.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
nicely done. I'm impressed with your acrobatics. Well, that's all that martial arts.
That's all that martial arts stuff. But I walked by those shoes 3 times, and the third time I'm like, okay, I got to get those. That's the TMV shoes right there. And my son walks up and he goes, "Oh, you're getting new shoes?" And he looks at his and he goes, "I need to get some." And these are probably good for another month. And I'm like, "Son, you do realize you're on vacation?" And he goes, "Yeah, I know." And I go, "You could get the shoe. What are you talking about?" I said, "You're on vacation." And he goes, "You would pay for those?" I said, "Are you on vacation?" And he goes, "Yeah." So then my daughter, my youngest daughter, she's a little bit smarter, quick on the take. She goes, "Oh, I see you're buying shoes." You know, Dad's buying shoes. We're on vacation. She goes, "Oh," gone. And so that was the beginning of the real of the real. And then my strategist, she says, "You know, you're famous for saying you eat your own cooking." And she goes, "Yeah." And she said, "How many vacations do you have scheduled for next year? Not how many are you going to do?" And I was like, "Oh, you're right. You know, that's part of my thing is how to schedule. You know, you got to schedule. If it's not on the calendar, it don't get done." So then that was the beginning of that. So.
With it, your family must love the new you.
It's a better me. Actually, I was listening to Jim Rohn on the way by, and he, you know, I steal a lot. If you're stealing from me, you're stealing at least twice. Okay. And I work a lot on self-development because, you know, I missed a lot of stuff with him. And so I work real hard on trying to bridge the gaps. I mean, but again, I can never go back. I can't make up those. Everybody always says, you know, if you miss a workout, I'll make it up. No, you don't.
Yes.
You just have to do another workout. Right. So it's just, so yeah, they like the new me, but.
So I'm going to ask you some of your own questions.
Okay.
So what's your happy mindset?
My Clifton Strength Finder coach said, you know, when you're in a rut, because everybody gets in it, right? I mean, I don't care. Everybody gets in it, right? He says, I buy these magazines, like Time Magazine knows me, and they'll do like a whole Time Magazine on happiness or raising your kids or whatever, right? And so she's just go get one of those and read for 15 minutes. And that's how I keep my mindset. Every day for at least 15 minutes a day, whether it's whatever, my wife and I start our day reading, self-development. And so that's one of the, I mean, we get ingrained, you know this, that's your story. We get ingrained, we don't watch news. We get ingrained though with all kinds of negatives. So your job is to completely change that and always put as much positive in. And you can't stop because the negative is always trying to come. Your brain is designed to look for negativity.
Sure.
I mean, so.
Yeah. They always say that you're an average of your 5 closest friends. Do your clients need to find a new tribe, a new group to hang out with? Because sometimes even people that, you know, love you can put poison in your brain.
Especially people that love you go put poison in your brain. Now, that's a tricky question, but I will give you a story. Okay, my wife, my oldest daughter, and my son and his girlfriend were having a talk, and they started going down the road on trashing one of our other kids because they weren't making the right life decisions. They weren't, but that's not their job, right? And so the girlfriend said, "Hey, what do you think about me?" And I said, "Well, you'll know if I don't like you because I'll tell you, right? And you'll know." And it's just like right now, I'm not in on this conversation because you're now what I call a level. You're a 3-second person, mm-hmm. right? And my wife realized immediately, and she's like, and she says, "Well, what do you want us to talk about?" And I said, "Literally anything else," right? So you set the terms, right? I mean, you get what you accept, right? And I don't accept that, right? I mean, you and I both have made bad life choices. We've made mistakes, right? But we don't need to fester on it. And it's not like a sore. We don't want it to fester. And the more you let that do, but you clear that out. Now we started talking about positive things. We had a great time. So
let's talk about the importance of sleep, because I know you're an early riser, so am I. Can you tell when your body's wearing down?
Yeah, I can. But everybody's rhythm is different. Right, and I actually go through that in some of my training. When you're emotionally strong, when you're intellectually strong, when you're physically strong. But I will say this: sleep is you got to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Period. All right. But the reason that you go into REM, one of the most important things about REM sleep is that your spinal fluid actually comes up and washes your brain 2 or 3, sometimes 5 times a night. And if it doesn't do that, dementia it helps with that, because it doesn't clean. You're getting junk in your brain, right?
Sure.
So when people say they didn't get it, if you wake up and like your phone, why is it at the bedside? It doesn't. Mine is downstairs, right? It's sleeping just fine, and I do just fine too, right? So, but yeah, that sleep is extremely important.
Tell me about martial arts and how the discipline that you learned in martial arts plays into your career now.
So you used a trigger word, discipline. All the research shows that discipline doesn't work. It's like a battery. That's why you start out in the morning really great, but at the end of the night you eat the Cheetos and the drink and then whatever, right? You binge watch, right? Because your discipline is done, right? But systems, which other people call habits, and I won't go down that road. That's fine, okay. But if you have systems in place, like I'm a chocoholic. All right? I am a chocoholic. We don't have chocolate now. People don't like this. They say, negative reinforcement. I would never use negative reinforcement. Yeah, you do. See, I don't have chocolate in the house. So we take away the bad thing, right? So now I can praise myself for not eating chocolate, right? Positive reinforcement, but by the way, is you left your girl here. I can't remember her name. Is it Sarah?
Sarah, my daughter?
Or, no. The front.
Lauren.
Yes. She has these chocolate kisses. You don't know how hard it is for me to walk by. If I get one, the whole bowl is gone. You're laughing. You think I'm joking. The whole bowl. You can't. It's like Lay's potato chips. You can't eat just one. That's sacrilegious. So that's
your thing. But in martial arts, there are things that you learn, training and rituals, and when you were leading your school and you had class at 9, that didn't mean 9:05.
Right. You have to be there on time. So that's the nice thing about owning your own business. You're not the boss. Right. Everybody else is, right. And if you're going to do that, if you're going to be late all the time, then you're going to find that your bosses are going to leave you, right? So you've got to do that. And the nice thing about martial arts is it's a system-based. That you have to learn a form or a technique, and you do it over and over and over again, and that generalizes. That work ethic generalizes. Actually, if you want to speak about work ethic, I'm going to go off the martial arts. You brought me back twice. Book to read, A Message to Garcia. It's over 100 years old. You can get it on Google, and it's free, and it takes about 10 minutes to read. And it's the base. Every one of my clients, my kids, myself, I read it twice a year, at least. But it talks about being that person that does the thing, right? And so martial arts, the funny thing about martial arts is you get in it because you think you're a tough guy and you want to be tougher, right? And then you realize that it's not fun to fight a 2-year-old. And after 2 or 3 years, that's what everybody becomes. I mean, the longer you're in it, the less chance you have of actually using the physical martial arts. The mental side of it, changing who I am and what I do, right? I don't fear that, right? I don't fear change, right? It's like I look forward to it, right? It's like it's a funny thing. It's the only constant in the universe, but everybody doesn't want to do it. But it's the only constant in the universe is change, right? It's crazy.
Okay, we only have a couple minutes left. What would you like to leave people with?
You know what? We haven't talked about skinny avatars and fat wallets.
Please.
That's my flagship. I've got a recession-proof challenge coming up. It's 22 days, and we're going to go over the avatar. We're going to go over the mindset. We're going to go over how to change your life. We're going to get through the roadblocks. It's 4 weeks of very good stuff. I actually have this morning. I got the good news that Bob Berg is actually going to make a guest appearance on. Yes.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
He's great. Endless referrals are great. Go Giver's probably a little bit better. He's got so many series. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying that. You know what I'm saying?
Tell me as we wrap this up. Tell us the goals for the show that you're doing.
The goals of the show is to give everybody information that they can go ahead and take more vacations. Taking more vacations can be writing a book, save the whales, spend time with the family. It's as Steve Jobs said it best. It's how are you going to dent the universe, right? So this is for you is actually how you're denting the universe. Your job when you were at Fox, that was a job. Right? But this is how you're denting the universe. And so everybody has a way that they want to dent the universe. So you're what you're doing. It may be that right now, right? But wouldn't it be great to dent the universe on your time, and then spend the time with your family, right? Like what you're saying, like if something happened, right? This place
Absolutely.
would still
Okay,
work.
give everybody a website where they can get in touch with you.
The TMVclub.com.
Outstanding. You've been amazing. We got to do this again.
Sir, yes, sir. I've been fist bumping for 30 years. Okay, it's not a COVID thing.
Oh, we're going to blow it up. That's awesome. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.
If you leave your business and it grows in revenue, you own a business. If it loses money, the business owns you. TMV Steven Beaver helps you own your business. Visit thetmvclub.com and get your vacation started.